Okay, so welcome to the second part of the podcast that me and Miles have just kicked off. If you've not seen the first part already, go and check it out on Miles' channel. It will be linked below in the comments so you can quickly get there. And hopefully there'll be an auto feed back onto this second part for when you get to the end of that one. We're just going to run down, basically, in this, the heresy parts of Warhammer Fest. Because we've already been talking a long time on Miles' channel. And we got to hear.
Yeah, and let's face it, like we both heresy heads. That's how we met each other. This is what we spend most of our time talking about when we meet up in person. And hell, even our upcoming 40k collaboration, little hint there, is very much based in like the heresy.
Heresy. Yeah. I see.
Heresy just runs through our veins, you know.
Yeah. So. Basically, I think we've had quite a few big things come out of Fest this weekend. Let's get through. Actually, weirdly, because this was their big reveal, I think. Weirdly, let's get through the Night Lancer.
Yeah, I mean, big, literally big. Oh, do you know what's crazy? I've just come off the back of doing a commission for a Night Lancer, and in the tutorial, I put like an entire section of how to deal with Forge Roll resin. Well, you could just throw that video in the bin now. It's gone.
Hopefully, you'll get 4 months of content out of it before it gets binned.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay, because Forge Roll resin is really good for really highly detailed miniatures, and it is a very highly detailed miniature, but it's just a pain in the arse to deal with. It's heavy. The weight distribution could be a little bit off. And if you drop it, it will smash into a million pieces. If you drop a plastic miniature on the floor, it still will break, but it's not going to shatter in the same manner that plastic. So from like a pure, I guess like selfish point of view and keeping your miniature alive, this is very much appreciated having it in plastic.
Yeah, so it's going to be easier to put together, obviously, like as you say, like or at least it's not. I don't think they convert as well, plastic models.
No,
because you can't Dremel them in the same way as you can just Dremel into a resin one. One thing about this is it's not much else to comment on other than those comments that we've just made. Because we've seen Cerastus Knights before, right?
Yeah, we've seen Cerastus.
Is there anything you've noticed about it?
You know, I think this is... so the past few Heresy releases I haven't been like super buzzed about because it's things we've seen before. So like the tank designs being updated into plastic, and now the Knight being converted. These are all good things, but it doesn't like tweak my nipples.
Do you know what? I said at the start of the first part of this, like, oh god, I'm gonna start off on like a slightly negative, and we've done it on both videos now.
Yeah.
What actually has ended up happening, we've ended up pushing because we've loved all the rest of the stuff, except for the first ones we've come to on both things.
Like, I think it's the narrative structure, right? We start low and we bring people up. Then before we leave, we come them crashing down again.
So we're doing like a compliment cheese toast.
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's not a sandwich. It's just like
we can't say that word sandwich for demonetization purposes. So I'm waiting. So we'll come to this at the end with the roadmap. But I'm really looking forward to the new thing that they produce. What this new era of Horus Heresy is going to really herald, not redesigns or like plastic updates of. Because don't get me wrong, I really appreciate that they are updating everything in plastic. I love that they're doing that. But in terms of like giving me that dopamine hit of seeing something new, this doesn't.
It will be lasting benefits, right? It's not that big buzz. It's going to be long term really good for the game that we both really enjoy.
Yeah, I know.
We've already got the stuff.
I'm really aware just how entitled I sound by saying that because we've been screaming out for years as a community to get things in plastic, and this is a godsend to have a Cerastus Night Lancer.
Where's my Thunderhawk?
I know, yeah. Oh, you brought out the Thunderhawk in plastic. Well done. You know, thanks.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be like.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I've already
yeah.
got my Thunderhawk.
God.
No, do you know? Let's move swiftly on to like.
Yeah, but one more thing. House Divine color scheme. I really hope that they come with a House Divine decal sheet. That would be amazing, and it does open up different designs. So the Castigator that they could build on top of this. So like a good solid release, a good solid miniature.
Let me just put my mic right next to my eye so everyone can hear them rolling. Go on, Miles. Plug your color scheme that you've got on your channel.
I don't know whether I should say this or not. So I got paid to do this night.
Yeah.
But the client asked for the most boring color scheme.
What?
I know. I feel horrible saying this. Crucius. Yeah, Crucius. So in order to make it a little bit more interesting for myself.
That's a really nice scheme. Like black and white, super dark contrast. You could have just done your contour highlighting from the bottom and it would have worked perfectly. You love that
I have done a little bit down the lance edge to make it look like there's a build-up of power. But anyway, in order to make it a little bit more interesting for myself, I've put like checkers on the... hold on, let me Google it across to you. There you go, I've sent it via Discord. Yes. So, I hate saying it because, I mean, the client's always right.
Is that the one that you just described as the bad colour scheme?
Yeah.
That looks really good.
I know, because I've sexed it up a little bit.
I'm also not a bell end.
I've replaced the white with white faux marble because you have all these large flat areas, right? You need to generate a little bit of interest, and it needs to be interesting for me because I'm painting this thing for like 20 hours plus. So I've replaced the white with a faux white marble, and I've replaced the black with a slightly lighter purple highlight, and then I've used checkers along the side like saltires, purely to keep myself amused while I paint this thing.
Yeah, but that's part of the colour scheme, right? I'm not letting you get away with this. I'm not letting you get away with this. So that's part of the colour scheme. That's your job as a creator.
But you look at the Legio Crucius colour scheme. None of what I've described is on there. It's chipped white and faded off colour black with a like Death Guard green khaki. So I've changed the green to a darker blue green, and I've used a sponge like you can buy from any art store, like one of these. Hold on. I've got one of these. I've dipped this in, I've sponged it to give it a little bit more texture. None of that is on the reference image that was sent to me. Not a thing. So no, it isn't just black, white and green. With that scheme, I mean, throughout the tutorials, like it's very tongue-in-cheek how I do it, and I mean, most of the things I paint are black and will have some kind of white and green applied to them. I've tweaked the colour scheme ever so slightly. If you're watching, I'm awfully sorry. I do like the colour scheme. I like how I painted the knight. I like I'm sure you, well, I haven't heard from you yet, but I hope you really like the outcome of it, because I love the outcome of how it's turned. If you don't want it, great, I'll keep it, because it turned out really, really nicely.
Right, let's get onto something that I actually want to talk to you about, because you just seen it out. So,
Siege of
for our
Chthonian.
remaining listener, right? Let's go into the characters, right?
Yeah.
So we've got the Siege of Chthonian, and these very quick of Siege of Chthonian. We've got them tank commanders that have been teased. You've got the Imperial Fist and Loyalist Thousand Sons, I believe it is, that are in control of Chthonian, and the Sons of Horus are going to taking it back. So within that, they've just teased at the week. tease. They just teased, and I can't not say it, at the weekend, these two characters for Fist and Sons of Horus. Let's start on Sons of Horus, Miles, because that's the first one on the site that we're letting, on the Warhammer community site that we're letting. Well, one, I'd say for the character of the Legion, which is this Verin Ashuridan, and I think we've got a new Pollux for the Fist character. And I'm gonna let that hang until we get to that character.
You know, it's weird how the Imperial Fists always have those sculpts that every Legion uses. But okay, we'll get.
So you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get to it. Verin
doing all.
So
all of
this guy is called Varen Assuradon, and
Yes.
this is where the positivity meter starts to tick up, because I love both these sculpts. He looks brutal, heavy, nice detail, but not overly festooned with it, and a back banner. I love that they're bringing back banners back.
But is it heavy with an H for the subtype?
No. He's just like all good Space Marines. He's thick. He's tastefully thick. Really good sculpt. I like both these sculpts. I mean, Varen, he could be a commander for your force. He could be a consul. He could be a sergeant. He's Chthonian through and through. I think part of his back history is that he's part of the true Sons of Horus.
So I think that's like the Black Watch in Mandalorian. It's like the true.
Right. Okay.
No,
yeah.
I'm asking. I'm asking.
Oh no, I don't watch The Mandalorian. I have no idea. I'm just going to nod.
You don't watch the new series of The Mandalorian, right?
No.
Right. We can't have another segue into this. Go and watch The Mandalorian.
Right. Okay. Right. I'll end the stream here. I'll come back.
Right. But so
Okay.
Varen Assuradon, I think, oozes menace, and personality.
Yeah.
Like that the model just screams gang member with all the little trinkets and
Yes.
things that he's got or at least Chthonian gang member that he's got decorated around him.
And this is very much a part of his character, how they described him, that he doesn't like the mass intake of new recruits that they're just taking willy-nilly from the universe. He wants proper Chthonians. He wants Chthonian. He wants Chthonia for Chthonians.
Okay.
That's what he wants. And you've seen a lot of the artwork that was described and released to us, how they the inductee, how they decorate the armor to make them seem more legit. But no, this guy is all hardcore Chthonian for Chthonians. And like you say, he's festooned with sigils. I love his axe, by the way, like that eye symbol. What's a really nice detail as well, the back banner. I love back banners are coming back, by the way. How it kind of folds over the top and is pinned in place.
Rather than just being like this, like just pushed into the top like they used to be. No, he's true. Like, I like the details around the banner as well. Like, not just the banner, but the skulls hanging off, like what do you call the pole at the top of the banner?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The cross section.
Yeah, the cross beam.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Pat on the back, Miles. So yeah, I love those little, like, the golden skulls, and yeah, he just all adds up to this very good, as you were saying before, heavy looking model.
Yeah.
That is really menacing.
Yeah, I think some Space Marines can get away with a sense of airiness about them. The Emperor's Children, for example, maybe Blood Angels. But on the whole, I like Space Marines looking heavy and grounded to the floor. And that's what this, like you say, exudes menace. He has like this hunched over look. And a little note on the skulls. One of my bugbears in the hobby is skulls that appear on miniatures that painters paint them as skulls.
Got them all lined up.
Yeah, so I've painted these as skulls. I've made this cardinal sin myself. And I don't like seeing this, because if you're important enough to be a skull hanging off the War Master, well, surely he'd spend the time dipping it in bronze and protecting it. And that's what the common sense Varen Assuradon has done. He's dipped his important kills in gold and bronze, and he's keeping them close onto his...
Because he's got a lot of, like, street smarts, and he's down to earth. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's going to rise to the top of a Reaver squad.
He is the equivalent of a builder outside Greg's. Like, you don't want to mess with him.
Well, he would be right outside Big Pete's in a heartbeat as soon as he got to where one of the franchises were.
He's the kind of guy who enjoys fighting people in little car parks on the weekend.
Is that it? Is that it? Do you know what? I can't top that one. I was going to say he definitely drinks Oxo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good. One thing, right? This is we've mentioned before about some of the other models being like very busy or not very busy. I can't remember which way round we landed on them.
Yeah.
As we were looking at them. But do you think this model is too busy or not?
I don't think he is.
I think it's on the edge, if anything.
He's on the right side of it, because you want a certain level of characterization, you want a certain level of embellishment to it, but there's still a lot of open spaces, like the helmet. Even though it's curved, it's still legible. The shoulder pad, there's some really nice open details. Even though the chest pad is embellished, there's still quite a lot of large areas to explore. So yeah, I think for me, he's on the right side of busy.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted your opinion on it, because it's something that you've brought up before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's almost too busy for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
maybe if he lost the back banner.
I think a lot of it is in how stuff is painted. Not that this is painted bad, but maybe it's how much like changes between black and green he has.
I got it. Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, should we go on to Pollux 2.0?
Lord Castellan Evander Garris. So do you want to explain what you mean by that to our newer viewers, or people who aren't so deeply entrenched in the heresy?
Yeah. Well, it's Pollux, the model, came out at a time when we clearly all were looking for praetors to make, or characters in general. And what we all did, and I'm sure you were involved in this as well, Miles.
I'm guilty of this crime as well, yep.
Every single praetor that anyone made ever used Pollux's model. Because it's a brilliant model, right? It's a brilliant base, that Pollux model, to set your... It wasn't too entrenched as being Pollux. It was quite a good pose, different than a lot of others. It had quite unique looking armour. And so therefore you could just convert it off into anything you wanted. It looked very special.
Yeah.
This as a Terminator has exactly the same thing. Like, take off that head, and it's not even two Imperial fists. If you shave it down a bit, I imagine it could look like a lot of others. And there's not much stuff that you would have to file away to get rid of the Imperial fistiness out of it.
No, I agree.
You could even like removing the arms. He then doesn't have to be armed with that frankly amazing underslung Volkite.
Yeah, that is. It's a dual Volkite, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing that we've seen before, but I love it.
I mean, just say that word, underslung. I imagine it's all hyphenated as well. So underslung dual Volkite.
Tumor. Yeah, the only problem is he's armed with a fist. And it's not quite brutal enough for Heresy 2.0.
He's a Thunder Hammer.
Yeah, it might be a Thunder Fist in the end. But...
I've been listening to your videos. Yeah, anything worth its salt needs a Thunder Hammer now in this meta.
Yeah. It's the Thunder Fist. Maybe it's a Thunder Volkite. We don't know. Yeah. But as you say, I really like the model. That's the most important thing about this one for me. Is just
me too.
The modelling opportunities with it. It's nowhere near like busy. Like, I don't have to ask that question. It's not anywhere near too busy for me.
No, I agree.
Because I'm going to shave off the stupid, like, the fist bits.
It's weird. The Imperial Fists have such a rich history of creating amazing character miniatures, because I'm seeing exactly the same thing. The Pollux dilemma applied to their new Praetor, the one that's running forward in Mark III armor.
The one that's laying brick?
Yeah. I'm seeing that used so I'm using it myself for a Raldron conversion. If I'm being hypercritical about this miniature, the fur looks a little bit banana-y, but that's me being... I'm just nitpicking. I'm trying to find fault where really none exists.
Do you think that's with how they've painted that with... It looks to me like they've highlighted individual strands rather than giving it a dry brush that makes it a bit dustier in the case.
And fur's really weird as well, because you often find on like wolves and stuff in the wild that the lighter areas appear on the inside. So when we look at Horus, for example, just got I've done the highlights on the inside where you'd normally expect to see the darker areas, and then the outside of the fur, that's what accumulates the dirt. So the outside of the strands, the ends of the strands will often be darker because they've become muddied over time.
And if you'd like to see this effect in real life, put your dog out in the garden for about a week and a half, and then you can copy it perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, or my case, just take him up a field for half an hour and you'll run around like an idiot, and then boom, you're there.
Exactly.
I mean, as far as
Real
like
life
shaving
weathering.
as far as like shaving off detail on this guy, the chest would have to go. I wonder whether the chest is a different piece, whether
What you mean? It's like a Baden's plastic model where it's actually not. I don't know, because you're obviously going to have to put that head in somehow, and it doesn't look like that's coming down from the top.
Yeah. So you might get lucky. You won't necessarily have to shave off that detail. You could just replace it with something else. The crosses you'd have to get rid of.
I don't know. I like the air vents in the chest piece. It looks.
Yeah, that does look cool.
It looks tactical enough.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'd be too hard to get rid of them. You'd have to re-put in the line of the banding at the bottom of the chest piece. But I don't think that'd be too hard to just like file that line back into the model. Like
it's a shame.
People have done it with Gulliman's chest piece.
Yeah. It's a shame they no longer do brass etch, because you can take like an Iron Warrior, because I'm assuming you want to do it for your Iron Warriors, right?
Is there another Legion?
Yeah, just put like that Death's Head on top, file it down. You don't even need to do that good of a job filing it down. Put that over the top, boom, done. Yeah.
Like the trouble is, I've already got an Iron Warriors Terminator Praetor made out of a Baden. As yet unseen. Well,
why not have two?
You see, that is a very good question. And I can't think of many reasons right now. So I'm just going to have to gloss over that little question.
The miniature on the base is really nice as well. I feel like we've missed that really nice
The guy
detail.
that's been tuned in the face?
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like his armor's just kind of like melted, and they've done a really nice like heat sink effect on the inside to make it look like it's glowing. Yeah, that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, do you know what the one problem with this model? That Imperial Fist symbol on the cape.
That could be shaved off pretty easily.
Yeah.
Good sharp knife to remove the majority of it, and then you could take some Tamiya files over the top. You could take some.
You get to pick out a ridiculous detail, so do I. Like you get to pick out the banana fur. I get to say something.
I get to.
I'm looking for stuff, Miles. I'm looking for stuff.
I get to trash this miniature as well.
Because I just love it, and I shouldn't. It's yellow and banana-y, but.
Yeah, yellow and black. It's almost like a hazard stripe. Perhaps that's your attraction to it.
Yeah, that is true. I just got this natural attraction.
Yeah, hazard stripe in industrial machinery. What do you do for a living?
Me, I'm a landscape architect now, Miles. There's not many workplace accidents anymore. So yeah, shall we go on to something that should have loads of workplace accidents?
Yeah.
And that is the assault marines.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go across to it.
If you want loads of workplace accidents, obviously you strap a jetpack to your back. Yeah. Now, one of the things to say is with these, I really like them. I think it's got that same thickness that you were saying.
Tasteful thickness to them, yeah.
Tasteful thickness. Yeah, I like the poses and the hunched overiness of them going forwards. I think it gives a good forwards momentum weight to the model.
Yeah, nice chunky heaviness to them, and they can be used as the spoilers as well. I'm sure you just put a different backpack on them. What's really interesting is that they've left the chest design open. So before, I think it used to be locked over, right?
Yeah, with the straps I think it was downwards. The straps.
That's right. Yeah. Downwards. But with this, it's on the back and underneath the harness, which leaves that really nice negative space. I mean, I could just imagine a Blood Angel decal going right there. Boom. Done. Really, really solid kit. To be super nitpicky, it looks like they've got the left shoulder pad, two sections again. Absolute bitch to. Can we swear on your channel?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, absolute bitch to try and get rid of.
Yeah, well, it's one reason I've not actually delved into the new Mark 6s. I really wanted some. But
Yeah.
that one thing, like it's like the Mark IIIs having a split backpack, right?
Yeah.
Like it's inexplicable because they've
So
been making studded shoulder pads in one piece for years and years.
yeah, and to do it with this, yeah, it's mind-boggling, right? You can get around it by using sprue glue, which is Tamiya glue, and you mix up with a little bit of a plastic, and it creates like this glue, and you can glue it over the top, and you can file it. But in all honesty, with 3D printing being a thing, just 3D print a bunch of them.
That particular bit, yeah.
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 That's what I'd recommend.
Yeah, because it's worth that ease to just not forever see that and not have to arse about with sprue glue.
You could go through that. I mean, I've done that with all my guys, and I can on some of them you can still see it. So what I've ended up doing is painting half the shoulder pad black and half the shoulder pad green for my Sons of Horus. But there's always that lingering resentment that's there in the first place. Just 3D print them.
Slowly creeps up after
Yeah.
years of marriage or usage of
There's.
assault marines.
I think a lot of the reason why we're in this hobby is like a background trauma, right?
Yeah.
It's nostalgia trauma that keeps us in it.
Yeah.
And just seeing things like that subconsciously, it's setting something off, it's reminding me of something, it's triggering me in some way that I don't want to resolve.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd rather just not think about it and just 3D print it and move on with my life and have a healthy relationship with the people around me.
Right. Speaking of which, like let's scroll down to let's do jointly the roadmap and the next picture down. There's a picture right on this community page, like revealed picture.
There is,
Land
yeah.
Raider, Deredio, surely plastic Deredio, right?
It has to be, yeah.
And Marines along with the roadmap. Now, it was just sort of dropped, and surely, there's going to be one thing I'm going to say. People might not have noticed, but there'll be lots of people have noticed. Surely, new plastic Mark III in that one. It's got different knee pads.
Is it Mark III or Mark II?
They've got the front plates, haven't they? Is that
Yeah,
not Mark III?
What's the difference between Mark III and Mark?
So they've got the Mark III extra armor on the van brace, which is normally just a cylindrical piece. They've got the additional loop round the shoulder, I believe. They've got the front-facing armor plates, which would normally be rings on a Mark II. But I initially looked at them and went, "Oh, they're Mark II," because we've already got Mark III, right?
Yeah.
But they look to me like that front-facing, heavy armored Mark III on closer inspection.
So my initial thought was that they were Mark III because they got the Stahlhelm point to them, which is so synonymous with the Death Guard, and Death Guard is so frequently seen in Mark. Yeah, I think.
But they're Sons of Horus, right? Because it's black and green.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The way they painted it is Sons of Horus. So I've got a picture of Mark II up at the moment of the resin.
So they've got more of a ring round the neck rather than that.
Yeah, than
triangle.
the V shape. Yeah.
They've got the dick plate rather than a segmented dick plate and the ring, not the circle stud, whatever it's called, like the belt, the championship belt around every single one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And they've got forward facing armor on all the legs.
And the legs aren't segmented.
Signature.
I think the big giveaway is that the legs aren't segmented. Whereas
and it's
Mark
got on the vent braces as well. It's got the forward facing armor.
So I've got a picture of a Salamander in Mark III up at the moment.
Now that's a resin one specifically.
Yeah.
Which tends to have shorter legs, I find.
Mm. Yeah.
But I actually really like
right.
the resin look of models. But yeah, it's so Mark III in there, which would be interesting that if they're redoing Mark III so soon without Mark II being out yet.
So my thought is that the segmented armor that's so iconic with this, it might be just a pain to manufacture. I'm wondering whether they've redesigned Mark II armor into this. but that's just complete and utter speculation on my part. I think more than likely it would be Mark III, and yeah, you're right. Why would they redesign Mark III armor to look like this rather than closer to Mark III? Why have
maybe
an in between Mark? Maybe 2.5.
Like to get him in line for the scale creep of Mark VI that's been happening.
So I've got a really wish listy thought in that they could just do Mark II and have like 10 leg plates or something. Like slap them onto the front of the legs.
Ah, right, like reinforced.
Yeah, because that's all it is really anyway, right? I've done quite a lot of, whenever I've run out of Mark III stuff, or like there's a different posed arm and it's in like Mark IV.
Mm-hmm.
I've just dremeled out the Mark III part so that you get the extra armor plate and just slapped it on, and you can't ever really tell. But really wish listy it could be like that because of the helms implying, as you said, these it might be Death Guard, but also it looks like Mark II, right?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
So it's just a different direction that they've gone in with that helm, maybe. But I think it's yet to be seen into. This is the wish list part of the show because we're now comparing roadmaps.
Yeah. Overall, I like the design. I like the sculpt. A good solid sculpt. They look like they're big, beefy sculpts. They look like they've sort of true scaled them for the new edition. Yeah, all positives from me for them. Really like them.
They're less like flat. They've got more bulges in the legs by the looks of it.
Yeah. And they got like those round bits around the knee pads, like on the sides.
Yes. Yeah. That looks more like an actual sort of like working part rather than this like segmented knee pad that goes
it's been
on
bolted on.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I like it. Okay, so I've just scrolled down to the roadmap that we have. And this is a nice, so like being old Heresy community members, having a roadmap, it's something that we used to get quite frequently in the Horus Heresy weekender days. You go, you see new miniatures, you see upcoming sculpts, and the designers were very loose-lipped over what would be coming within like the next 6 months to a year. But having this brought back into the fold of Warhammer, then having a more cleaned up version of a roadmap, it's a nice return to form. It's nice to know the direction and that there is stuff planned for it.
Yeah, it sort of feels like they've listened because this is what people were asking for a few years, and they've come through with it. So like, it's one of them nice things that they've done that like there is no way we can complain about their treatment of the community.
Yeah. It's a nice touch.
These particular pieces, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't like that roadmap, they've given us what we wanted, and that's just the direction.
Yeah.
Now, Dreadnought, I've said before, plastic Deredio is in that picture above.
Yeah.
Not a plastic one is, but like a Deredio is in that picture above. I reckon it's going to be. It's either that or Castaferum, right?
I think it will be Deredio. I think they are kind of like done with the Castaferum range. I don't think they're going to bring them back.
Yeah. Do you not think there's going to be like a... I so hope they do a limited run so I can buy like 20. But
I did see very recently somebody did a design like the RTB01 Space Marine and like true scaled it.
Evil one. You mean the Coles 3D? Oh, not the Coles 3D, the 3D printed one.
Yeah.
And it's got like a marine head inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that evil one. He does the Lunar Auxilia range that I use on the channel quite a bit.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That was a really cool sculpt. Could it be that maybe? Because they did say on the live stream there'll be a new Dreadnought chassis. It's going to be new, and in my lizard brain, it's like, oh whoa, what do you mean new? Could it be like a new class of Dreadnought? But no, I think more than likely it's going to be a plastic Deredio that we see in the background image from this image that you can see on the screen. I think it's going to be that.
Mark III, more Lords of War. Yeah, I mean everyone's using them. I really want a Hellblade. I really want a Fellblade.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my usage out of my Kratos. It's a cool looking tank, but it does nothing on the tabletop.
Do you know what? I was absolutely boned one by one at the event today.
Really? Was it running all Volkite?
No, it was running the melter cannon, 2 heavy bolters on the nips, blast cannons on the Swantons. I feel like I'm missing a gun, but it did and the coaxial autocannon, right?
Right.
And it did a lot of work. It was like delete that squad.
Yeah.
And the flare shield is 15. I'd just not taken. We killed a couple of tanks with like last resort grav maces in combat. Like it was like I'd taken my only anti-tank that I'd taken was a plasma squad, and relying on my Iron Warriors +1 to
right, got you.
to strength 8 plasmas. So
yeah,
it wasn't a successful strategy.
Fun though, yeah. But okay. Yeah. So the big things from this roadmap that really leap out to me: mystery yeah, of course, mystery army release and a Primarch. Now the Primarch's coming in autumn. They said in the event that it's going to be a Primarch that's being changed by the events of the Horus Heresy. So that automatically leads you into thinking of a transfigured Primarch. Do you... Who do you think it could be?
Like, I know what my heart says it wants to be, but I know... I think what... Right, so who's been changed a lot in the Heresy? Like, obviously the demon Primarchs. It's Russ has changed a lot in his personality because he's lost a lot of hope because he keeps not killing people. I don't know. I all I can ever think at this new Primarch juncture is Jagatai, because he's not got one on a bike yet, and he goes back to Terra. He goes from being Horus's friend to on Terra. Go on, Miles. You put me out of my misery. I just can't think of one, right?
Yeah, in the Q&A they said it's not going to be the Khan on a jet bike, which my heart broke at that, because in the army of jet bikes and bikes, he is the slowest thing in there. Please release a jet bike for him soon. He needs it. He needs a ride.
He does.
So two candidates really like leap to the fore for me. Demon Fulgrim, because he's becomes a fabulous snake man, and Lorgar
transfigured. Yeah,
I think it's going to be more likely Lorgar, because they seem to be giving the larger plastic demon kits to the main studio, and for like Horus Heresy Primarch sculpts done hopefully by Simon Egan, because I love that guy's sculpts. If I was going to bet my mortgage, it would be on Lorgar to be the Primarch.
Yeah, so he's got rules, for his transfigured version, I believe.
Yeah,
and so that might be the obvious choice of like he's got rules for both versions. Horus had rules for both versions and now has both versions, and he's been changed a lot. I suppose he's gone from like just everyone thinking that he was crap at fighting to still weapon skill 6.
Yeah, he's gone from like a weedy book bitch into a ubermensch.
So he's been transformed. He ticks all the boxes, Miles. He is a Primarch and he's been transformed by the Heresy.
Yeah. But is it too obvious? So I'm going to bet Angron.
So Angron would then have 3 models.
So what I'm thinking, my line of logic with this is Angron was the first miniature that they'd done. It's still a phenomenal miniature, but it's slightly out of scale now. I think with what they could do with him now, he for all the Primarchs feels like he needs the most updating.
Yeah, because how old that model must be? Like
he's over 10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they could really throw a curveball at us, and there's a little bit of a spoiler in here. They could do Ferrus Manus towards the end of Deathfire.
Head?
Yeah, where they chuck his body into a dreadnought and they sort of like parade him around as this sickly kind of homunculus thing.
That'd be a great curveball.
That would be a hell of a
New-
twist. That would be
Yeah.
like M. Night Shyamalan level twist right there.
So go on, mysterious new army.
Mysterious
this
army
could
release.
be down that road. I've heard. Do you know what? Speculation was rife at Fest today for
Right.
Legion number 2. Legion number 2.
Legion number 2? No, like the Forgotten
Well,
Legion.
It's just rumor, isn't it? Though it's.
So I've heard
surely
a couple of
you-
rumors. Oh, okay. So I've heard through very unreliable sources, Solar Ox, but I don't believe that for a second, because if you look at the 40k roadmap in winter, they do an AdMech. So it'd make
Dark
sense
Mech?
if they did a dual release and had Dark Mech or a Mechanicum range come out in plastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, whether that makes too much joined up logical thinking, I don't know. But
I have heard a separate but similar rumor, Miles.
ooh,
around
okay, let's indulge.
that they were redoing the mech book
It would make sense, right?
because
That-
people hated it, right? It came out and people bitched relentlessly.
yeah, especially mech players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Marine players going, these mech are really broken. And if they did, like, in whatever form, re-release that mech book, it could fit in with that. They could do, like, here's the mech, Dark Mech instead of, like, the Titan Legions bit, and you still use the old mech book for Titan Legions.
Yeah. Or you can
And
even do like resin upgrades, so you could have like a plastic Castellax kit with resin Dark Mech upgrades to create a Dark Mech army.
Yeah. Like, Liber Pneumatica. Liber Pneumachina, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that seems to make the most sense to me to do. I don't know whether they're going to go back to demons and do that. I'm really not
I
sure.
think they've said legacies, have they?
Mm.
Legacies for
Yeah.
demons. Like, along with militia. It'd be strange to think. Like, I know they were starting doing a model range, weren't they, with those brutes for the unaligned ones, which was cool.
And they had like designs for like winged brutes, and Cabanda was being worked on in the last Horus Heresy weekend. It was like 3-4 years ago. I mean, they mentioned it then, which he's
could
only
be.
seen the light of day recently.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be what I put my money on. It would be Lorgar transfigured and a mech / dark mech release for that.
Right. And shall we build up to the climax of the rife speculation that is filling the end of this episode?
Yeah. Let's
Right.
really dive into the unsubstantiated.
Let's through the crazy door. Right. So we've got the report to the Strategium. Warhammer
We have.
Community's cabal of esoterists have just presented this DEFCON game-esque looking, like, sort of Tron screen.
Yeah, it's up on the
Did
screen
you
right
ever
now.
play the game DEFCON?
No, I didn't.
So it was this like Cold War era game where you had a map of the world that looked like this sort of graphics. And it
Right.
just sticks in my mind as a really good graphical style. Sorry, like, this is the graphical sort of designer bit of me. Like looking at it, I really like the style of this announcement vid. But
Yeah,
you've
it
got
looks awesome.
These units on the map that move about, and they sort of look like the old battle. They look like the old White Dwarf, like units. that
Battle
you used to have
reports,
on the
yeah.
Battle report maps.
Yeah.
What do you think this could be, Miles?
So I would
Pretend
bet
we've not talked about this before.
I would bet a significant amount of money, and quite possibly one of my digits from my fingers, that this will be epic.
Yeah, I think we are of one mind. on
Yeah,
this.
we are aligned. Yeah, as Alex would say from Crescent Edge. Yeah, we are aligned.
Yes.
So you were mentioning something about like a WhatsApp rumor. before we came on.
I don't know whether you can show the picture.
I can't put it up on.
To you on Discord.
I can't put it up on screen, but we'll edit it in here
so that everyone can see just how flaky this rumor is. And this isn't even from my Discord that I've like screenshotted it. This was in the Manchester Epic group that I am part of. 4 plastic sprues to represent 4 Legion of Astartes battle companies and assets. Can be used to build 4 small, 2 medium, or 1 big Space Marine army.
Oh, I've got that on screen.
This list of stuff that comes with it. Now, that floated about 3 weeks, a month ago, and I was like, nah, it's too crazy. But this little like video puts that back into my mind that might be the case. It
confirms it. It kind of confirms it, right? Like the end line, Command Legions. Come on.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? They've already got 8mm Aeronautica.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 8mm Titanicus.
Mm-hmm.
All they need is some infantry, and there's a lot of buzz for Epic, and especially 30k Epic online. But they're wading in against the 3D printing peoples. But do you know what? I've got a 3D printed Epic army.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't available from Games Workshop, so I 3D printed it.
Mm-hmm.
I will buy some stuff off Games Workshop because I'm a sucker like that. And
it's convenience. It's convenience, right? Like most of us have access to a 3D printer or a 3D printing service. It's a ball ache to go through. It takes a long time. Resin's horrible to deal with. For the convenience of just walking into a store, buying plastic and putting it together, 100% I'd buy the official stuff.
Yeah, the non-shattery resin.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's anything like the Titanicus and Aeronautica ranges, they're going to be really, really good sculpts as well.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather go plumb for the quality and the convenience rather than maybe saving a couple of quid here and there on producing my own knockoff 3D printed versions.
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually, like as I said, I've just finished a 3k Epic army, so I can start putting it on the channel.
Yeah.
And it's making me doubt myself. I might do some in the run up, but I so want Epic back. Like it's one thing. I looked at it as a kid and never got into it. And
same. I never played.
I played 2. So I played 2 games learning the rules like somebody taught me in preparation for putting it on the channel. It's just like, another throwback game. And it might not have to be a throwback game. It might be coming back.
Could be a mainline game.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right? Like you said, they got the Aeronautica, they got the Titanicus Rangers. How much more stuff can you produce for them? For like, how many more Titan chassis can you produce? How many upgrade sets can you produce? Please release an Imperator. It just makes the logical sense, like putting all of these together into one game, combining them all, and then you're hitting that nostalgia dopamine hit as well, right? The ongoing trauma that we all go through that keeps us coming back to this again and again and again. I mean, hell, all they really need to do now is release Gothic in more time, and I could die a happy man.
You just need to come up to Manchester, Miles.
Yeah. We'll talk about that after this, because I need to come up.
We're playing more time in Battlefield Gothic. For anyone watching this on my channel, which I suppose everyone could put this on my channel.
Yeah.
But there is them 2 games that will be in playlists at the side, because I love all of these old games. They need. I'd love them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But we can still play. At least the best bit about. So there was a load of video games at Fest this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of looking at them, and we were talking about them at the side. And it's one of the best bits about us playing these tabletop games, even if it's good that they get computer game offshoots, is the hard copy rules never go away. The models never thank God for plastics, they never deteriorate.
They never deteriorate. Yeah.
But we can go back and play these excellent games.
Yeah. Like you say,
even if it's a release where they get like. Sorry, I just cut you off a bit there, but like, I'm going to get through these thoughts. I'm rude. It's even if it's a release that's only supported for like 2 years, we then have had an updated release that we can all play for so long as we've got the models. And it's one of the best bits about tabletop games. It requires minimal support so long as we all like it.
And you develop communities around it as well, niche communities around it.
Yeah. I mean, we can all drink lattes and wear scarves while being pioneers and playing these niche games.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't you play a spaceman cosmonaut game at Adepticon?
Oh no, that was JP. So he's in love with this. They produce all different kinds of games. So one of them is a serial killer game. So like Cabin in the Woods, like you could build a little cabin. You could be Freddy, you could be Jason, you could be all different kinds of characters. But one of them was a cosmonaut game where the Cold War moved into space. So you have astronauts fighting each other over real estate on the moon, and they sell their miniatures in the same packaging that they package like astronaut food up in, like that silver stuff.
But like dehydrated food package, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, like that. And Adepticon is great for that because you come across all kinds of weird and wonderful contraptions and games like that, and they take off over time. They're going from strength to strength. Yeah. We can all be cosmonaut killers.
Yeah, really. I'd end. No, but I think that brings up our coverage. I think of Fest. Like,
that's it. Yeah. Overall, big success. I'd say great miniatures, roadmap for the Heresy, old world stuff like solid, substantial miniature reveals of old world. And we haven't even covered like the masterpiece that is that Lord of the Rings diorama. What a great miniature that is.
Should we do it really quick?
Yeah, why not?
It's brilliant. I really like it. It shows a really great scene in the movie. Done. Do you know what we've not done as well? Oh, we've also not done the Age of Sigmar release that was the Nurgle Herald, like Demon Herald on horse. That was like a throwback to this 6th edition model.
Try to track him down quickly now. Warcry. Oh, I don't think it's here. Headsman Curse, Cavaliers, Dawnbringers. Oh, Dawnbringers, I got it. Yeah. This gives me hope because I think from the initial release of those 4 horsemen, the Nurgle one was the weakest of a very strong lineup. It was still a good miniature, but it was the weakest. Now imagine what they can do with that Corn Lord. Imagine what they can do. I mean, we can see what they do with the Nurgle, the Zinch Lord, but more importantly, that Slanesh Lord with the boob worm.
Yes, the boob worm.
Yeah. What a time to be alive, dude. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Yeah.
And let's face it, like when the old world hits, we are going to be stealing miniatures from AOS. Like this Nurgle Lord is going to appear in every Nurgle list that uses cavalry.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's an excellent model. It's got those large open spaces. It's got a lot of detail on it as well.
Yep.
It again oozes, pardon the pun, but not oozes character, and it's such a good throwback, as you say, for that dopamine hit of like
it's
nostalgia.
Phenomenal sculpt. Yeah. Right. Yeah. What great way to leave the first podcast. Joint podcast, whatever this thing is that we're doing, this shared mental breakdown we're going to have, and we're going to share with each other this beautiful journey we're going to embark on over the next few years, hopefully.
But should we say YouTube-y stuff all over again just before we close out? So for everyone sat there at home, if you liked this podcast or whatever it is, don't forget to hit like, comment below what you liked, what you didn't like. And just let us know that you want us to do more of these sort of things so that we know that you want us to do these sort of things. And we will do. And with that, insert tagline here.
Good night and good luck.
You stay classy, planet Earth.
Stay classy.